Francis focused on world affairs today during his visit to the United Nations. His speech to the General Assembly urged world leaders to help poor countries, those affected by drug trafficking and the environment, saying, "Be close to one another, respect one another, and so embody among yourselves this organization's ideal of a united human family, living in harmony." Alejandro Guerrero watched the rest of the senior class and has more of the story.
Members of the senior class watched as Pope Francis addressed the UN General Meeting. The pontiff spoke about many different topics, such as helping poor countries, those affected by drug trafficking, nuclear weapons, education for girls, and the environment. Many of the senior class were moved by the Pope's message.
What I really got from Pope Francis's talk today is how he really wants to push that the idea that poverty in society and our concern for environmental each other. He wanted to push it had to stay present at the speech and every secretary that represents their nation to push the youth and everyone in their nation to basically come together and help solve those problems.
I'm Alejandro Guerrero, now back to you.
Earlier today, we spoke with Rodrigo Bustamante. We got back to him now at the UN. Rodrigo, what's it like to see the Pope speak from where you are right now?
Well, today we got to see the Pope. It was amazing. Everything he said resonated with everyone there. Like I said earlier, everyone was excited regardless of culture, religion, race. His speech really brought together everything that the Sustainable Development Goals are talking about, from the environmental protection to helping the poor to ending inequality. He's really brought everything together in one speech, and all of us couldn't be happy with everything he said.
And in this speech, what do you think the most important parts were?
Well, for sure the parts when he talked about how we need to want education and how that's such an important role in how children will develop and grow in the future, because like he said, we are the future of the world, and what we do is going to leave a mark on future generations to come. And when he started talking about how it's going to be the responsibility now, and we have to start now with these goals by 2030, that's when everything should be achieved. He wants to end poverty. He wants to close the gap between the rich and the poor. Everything is going to be hopefully done by 2030. And that's pretty much what I'm most excited for, and seeing where the youth can go with that.
And how important exactly do you think it is for the youth to hear what the Pope had to say to the nation's leaders?
I think it's super important, especially at the end after the whole thing was over. Malala spoke about how education and how making girls a bigger part of educational systems around the world, that they don't allow girls. Everywhere around the world, kids are listening to what he has to say, regardless of how old he is or his age. His ideals are representative of our generation and everything that we hope to achieve. And like I said earlier, that speech brought everything to the forefront, and now we're just going to have to get to work.
Alrighty, that's all the questions we have for you now. Thank you very much, Rodrigo, and have a safe trip home.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
After leaving the UN, the Pope's busy day then took him to the National September 11th Memorial, where he prayed for the lives lost on that faithful day. Francis met with some of the families who lost loved ones and first responders. The Holy Father's call for peace was echoed by a rabbi and imam who joined in a multi-religious service. Rabbi Elliot Cosgrove said, "To heal the wounds and warm the hearts of those in so desperate need of comfort." Imam Khalid Latif, the Islamic Center, added, "The courage of today's gathering distinguishes us from the opponents of religious freedom, as we stand together as brothers and sisters to condemn their horrific acts of violence and honor each life that was lost unconditionally." He will celebrate Mass at Madison Square Garden tonight. Thousands of Catholics gathered in Philadelphia to listen to Cardinal Sean O'Malley and Pastor Rick Warren. They spoke about the importance of unity between all Christian religions and about the love that God has for all people. The speaker prior to O'Malley and Warren was not Catholic, which emphasized the point of unity throughout all of Christianity.
Today we are here in Philadelphia enjoying this wonderful conference on the family. We're able to listen to Pastor Rick Warren, and I was able to share some of my own thoughts about the joy and the importance of family life and the witness that we need to give to the world to encourage people to make a gift of themselves by responding to God's great love for us. by embracing their vocation and by living that vocation to love and to serve, particularly in families that are to be missionaries, where we pass the faith on to new generations of disciples and where we teach people that love of God and reach out to those who are on the margins, as Pope Francis is always urging us to do, to be that field hospital where the mercy of Christ becomes visible and present in our midst. God bless all of you, and look forward to seeing you at Belen.
Now let's go to Carlos Cristobal, who's in Philadelphia, awaiting the Pope's arrival. Carlos, how important do you think Cardinal Sean O'Malley and Pastor Rick Warren's speeches were towards the youth?
I think it was really important because not only did they express what the true meaning of our life is, but they told us that God gave us a reason. Even though we might not know what it is, we do have a purpose. And then Cardinal O'Malley spoke about the unity that we all have to one another. Even though there's different Christian denominations, we're all the same under God's eyes, and we all believe in Jesus Christ, which is the most important thing.
Very exciting. And with the Pope arriving tomorrow, how excited is everyone exactly?
You can tell that everyone's super excited. Everyone's a little bit on edge. The security has definitely stepped up a lot. A lot of checkpoints. There's actually military servicemen here to make sure everything runs smoothly. So everyone's very excited, very excited.
Well, great. Thank you, Carlos. We hope to speak to you before you come home.
No problem, guys.
In other news, House Speaker John Boehner is resigning at the end of October. Several GOP sources say that the Republican leader is not only stepping down from his post as the top Republican in the House, but from Congress entirely. Boehner was elected to the U.S. Congress in 1990 as the representative from Ohio's 8th District. He was elected as Speaker of the House 3 times, most recently this January. Word of Boehner's resignation comes from just 1 day after the Ohio lawmaker met with Pope Francis ahead of the pontiff's address to Congress. Boehner, a devout Catholic, invited the Pope to speak. President Obama met with his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping, this morning at the White House. The two leaders were expected to focus on several difficult topics during their talks, including cybersecurity, human rights, economic issues, and trade. Obama brought up China's recent naval actions in the South China Sea. Both presidents have agreed to find ways to avoid military issues in the Pacific. The move comes amid rising tensions in the Pacific over China's territorial claims in the South and East China Seas. Obama says both he and the Chinese leader, Xi Jinping, also stand unified when it comes to North Korea ahead of Xi's visit. The White House threatened to sanction Chinese entities over cyber hacking. The Chinese president will be honored with a White House state dinner later today. That has been your WBLN update. I'm Stephen Kayes, and have a wonderful day and an amazing weekend.